of the agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are there any requested changes to it? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the agenda as drafted signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Next is approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
It's just a little soft for her.
It's fine.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as drafted. Are there any changes? Anything anybody would like to talk about on that consent agenda?
Two quick comments. Thank you for the update on the archives project. That was helpful and nice to see. Thank you. And congratulations to Lindsay. I think you wrote the grant on the Equitable Inclusive Communities Grant. So congratulations. Thanks.
Super. You beat me to them. That's good, though. Anything else? Okay. All in favor of approving the consent agenda as drafted signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay. Citizen comments. Are there people here for something that is not on the agenda? And I see Laura's hand. I'll start with you, Laura. If we have a number of you, I'd like to we do have a fairly full agenda this evening. This isn't the citizens' comments, not our place to actually solve issues, but it's to bring them up and maybe make a point about it. So if we can keep them brief.
Laura's got props.
I have a prop and I have thanks. So I have thanks on behalf of the Walk Bike Council and Middlebury Safe Routes for the striping that has been happening of crosswalks and fog lines. Makes a big difference on Washington Street and other places. And I know we still have a lot to get to. We have a lot of visitors now on bikes, a lot of seniors on bikes, on e-bikes, and they appreciate that guidance. And I see them using these crosswalk safety flags, which is low-hanging fruit, not as good as the LED flashing lights. And we're going to talk about the connectivity plan later, but I'm just really thanking you for that. Like, it makes all the difference to do the fog lines, the crosswalk striping, and shoulder maintenance. And anytime we can get better shoulders, it really makes a difference. So just keep that in mind for us and for our community, including the growing number of seniors that are back on bikes, especially e-bikes. So I just wanted to say that. And also, kind of related, the Public Health and Safety Committee has been dormant, and I'm a member of the Public Health and Safety Committee, and I know Chief Hanley was its chair. And I don't know where the select board is on the future of that committee. So maybe just think about that. I don't know if it needs to be convened, even if it's just to look at its membership and leadership. So I'm just bringing that to your attention. That's it.
Good point.
Oh, and this week, Wednesday, is Walk and Roll to School Day, which we celebrate on the first Wednesday of the month, and it's International Walk and Roll to School Day. So we really appreciate those lines and crosswalk safety for that, where we're joining kids all over the world in walking and biking to school. So look for us out there.
Thanks, Laura. Yeah, the crew is being, the weather's been kind to them here recently, so they're catching up on some of these projects that were on their list all summer. Anyone else? Please. Yes.
Hi, I'm Wendy Warren from Rogers Road, and quite a few of our neighbors are here tonight to support the presentation for the Bike Ped Committee that Rogers Road, Monroe Street are part of the plan to slow traffic and make it safer for all the pedestrians and people that live in that area and Butt Off Acres. So just wanted to say that's why we're here.
Oh, okay. I saw a lot of people I didn't recognize as having something going on, so thank you. Anybody else? Any hands up in the TV audience? No? Okay. Well, then we're going to go on to the Ilsley Public Library presentation. And looks like Kathleen, I'm sorry, we got one other hand up.
In addition to what Wendy said, I think it's really important.
Could you come forward and announce who you are? Because we have to transcribe these, and the person who's transcribing will hear better if you're closer to the mic.
I'm Mimi Love Nicholson from Monroe Street. And I want to say that it's really important to slow the traffic down there. I've lived on the corner of Monroe and Rogers Road since 1982. And the traffic has just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and faster and very loud. I hate the loud noise. I really hate it. And as far as doing the bike paths, I wonder if these fast drivers are going to watch for the children or not. They might, and they might not. It seems to me when they're, just driving fast through our neighborhood, they don't look for children. We don't have bike paths right now, but that's very dangerous. The children live there all the time, and so do the adults. And I just don't think the people that are driving through our neighborhood so fast, I don't think they have any idea who lives where they're driving. They don't know. They don't care, which is really bothersome, more than bothersome. I mean, just being still and listening to the traffic could give you a really big headache. And I really hope more is done about this traffic stuff, because it's very dangerous, I say, to the children and to the adults.
We hear you on the speed with the, unfortunately, yours isn't the only road. It's become a major issue throughout, not just the town, but obviously throughout the state, given the number of traffic speed signs that you see as you drive around now. And so it is an issue that we're aware of and that we're working on. And probably that's something the Safety Council should be continuing to brainstorm. So thank you. So,
Judy Weiger-Groves also has her hand up.
hi, Judy.
Yeah. Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
So related to that, I was gonna really try not to enter into the discussion. But given that the comments that you just recently made, Front Porch Forum is alive and well with comments about traffic and speed. Every issue of the Front Porch Forum, or every edition, carries numerous comments about speeding. And the general consensus is nothing is being done. So question number one is, what is actually being done? Next question, I attempted to walk across Route 125 from Schoolhouse Hill Road to Grist Mill Road, and was almost hit by a cop. I walked there today, and the dump trucks that are moving, and I understand the work that's being done on 125 over and over and over again. if somebody was in the way, they'd have absolutely no chance. And I'm not sure, nor are other people sure, what to do except to keep on making noise. Which I do really well, but,
Oh, don't cut yourself short, Judy.
well, I'm encouraging everybody that's on Front Porch Forum. I can say, we're not gonna solve this on Front Porch Forum. You need to call the state police, you need to call the local police, you need to call the infrastructure committee, you need to call the select board. And you need to be such a pain that somebody doesn't. I apologize, Brian, and the rest of the board, because I don't see it being addressed. And it's getting increasingly dangerous, increasingly worse.
I don't know, so I'd say it's not that we haven't made some good faith efforts, Judy. We've purchased a couple of the speed warning signs that have at least a positive effect. It doesn't solve it, but it has a positive effect on speeds. And they've done, when we've had fuller staffing and we could cover, we've had some increased patrolling in different areas, but it's like the whack-a-mole, because as you are quite aware, I'm sure there's other issues that have all of a sudden popped up here that take a lot of their time. So I guess I would beg to differ with you that we're not trying to do something. So I think you'd have to admit that we are doing something. And I need to move on. I don't want to debate this endlessly, but it is something we're certainly well aware of.
I'll keep track and let you know.
Okay.
Thank you, Judy.
Is Dana out there?
She is.
Oh, she's in the,
She's a presenter.
Hi, everyone. I'm here.
okay.
Okay, do you want me to go first with the contract?
Sure.
Or,
Sorry, I thought that that's what I saw on the agenda.
Okay.
So I was assuming you were going
Okay,
to ask me
okay.
if that's okay.
yeah. So I've been working with Judy Harris, who is our project liaison to the IPL 100 team, our attorney, Robert Fletcher from Stitzel, Page and Fletcher, and Chris Huston of Rearch to negotiate a contract. I sent the board out a preliminary draft. There are still some fine tuning to do as we speak, but I would say we are very close. We've agreed on a scope of services. We've agreed on a contract amount, but the devil is in the details of getting all of the provisions just the way we would like them. We are close, so I would ask the board, if it is comfortable with it, to authorize me to sign the proposed agreement pending final review by all of the parties, including our town attorney.
Are there any questions of Kathleen? She had sent out the draft details to us all previously. If there are no questions, then I would entertain a motion.
I'll move that the select board authorize the town manager to sign the proposed agreement with Rearch for pre-construction and schematic design services for the Ilsley Public Library renovation and expansion project.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I think Heather got the step on you, Dan.
Do you need a pen?
Yeah, I could use a pen because I can't have it.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, thanks for the work on that, Kathleen. It looks pretty,
Neat, folks.
pretty simple actually compared to, yeah, painful for sure. But I do like that format.
Bob was pretty insistent that we go with a more formal approach to iron out all of the details up front. As we've seen, there are details that were left unanswered before.
Thank you.
Okay, now I think you're up, Dana.
Yeah, okay. So, what you had in your packet was a draft of a, application for a grant from the Department of Historic Preservation. This would be, so it's a little early in the process for us to be applying for this, but rather than wait a year, I'd like to at least apply and see if we, anything could happen. So we're pretty confident no matter what design refinements we end up making, some portion of the 88 edition is gonna come down, and that's gonna reveal, a section of the historic facade. And that masonry will need to be cleaned and restored. So that is what this grant is for. It's for the cleaning up and the restoration and the shoring up of the facade of the 1924 building, after that 88 edition comes down. So I'm still waiting, it's due next week, and I'm still waiting to get a little bit of a more detailed estimate from REARC. So right now, there's a $200,000 placeholder saying that's what we expect the work to cost. That's actually what they budgeted for preservation efforts for that whole 1924 building. So they're narrowing it down for just what they think the masonry work would cost, and I'll update that figure once they get it for me, probably Thursday, they were saying.
Any other questions of Dana? Then I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve the Vermont Historic Preservation Grant application for the Ilsley 100 Library to the State of Vermont's Agency of Commerce and Community Development for $20,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Were you trying to get in there, Dan?
No, I was just looking because I knew she was gonna jump on that just to do that.
I don't know.
No, I'm good, I'm good.
I don't know. He's making fun of me.
Okay, next is Emily. Is she out there? I can't actually
She's
read. I
coming.
don't like.
She's coming in.
So,
Thank you, Dana.
Oh.
There she is.
Hi,
good evening, Emily.
There she is.
Oh, she's gone.
I'm hoping you can hear me okay. We're having switching internet.
So
Right
far,
now,
so
we
good.
hear you fine.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'll try to go quick in case internet fails. So about project updates, we're in a different order tonight on the agenda. Project updates, we completed the town paving, we came in just over 22,000 under budget. I think, some of that comes from ARPA funding, and we're going to have to look at how we're paying for all of the work being done for the flooding events. So that number might not hold for long, but as it is per contracted summer budget, we came in under budget, including the, work done on Brookside. The South Street infrastructure project, they are continuing to work moving south from South Main Street down to Green Mountain Place. Right now, they're working on services, water and sewer services, getting them out into the right of way, replacing them if they're water. And their plan is to sort of get to Green Mountain Place and then start going up Chipman Park North and do the Benedict Lane track during the winter months when they don't need to worry about temporary water as much. There's a few trees that we need to remove in that section. We coordinated that with the neighbors. GMP is coming on site, I believe, on Thursday to remove them because it impacts their utilities also. So it's sort of a win-win for all parties. We had a planned water shut off for Monday night to replace a few valves in the intersection on Main Street. I've been coordinating that effort, and when I got the notice out today, I reached out to the college, and Luther has some concerns because of the sprinkler systems at the college. A lot of the properties that would be impacted would be dormitories. So we're trying to figure that piece of it out, if we can still pull it off. He was thinking it might be easier for a daytime shutdown, but I think that would be an absolute traffic nightmare. They're literally like just south of the Rotary on South Main Street. So we're trying to coordinate, see what we have in our capacity to offer support. And I'll work with him tomorrow morning to try to straighten it out, to see if it's something that we can work with him internally to still do it as night work. The Halliday Road pump station, Champlain was able to mobilize back to the site and install the 3 structures that were pretty deep and complicated and really needed dry conditions. So when we had that spell 2 weeks ago, they were able to get in there and do that work. They're back in there now, prepping for the generator pad, and I think the generator's scheduled for mid-October to arrive on site, and then the housing and all of the electronical connections will follow that. Route 116 just got an update from the state that they are hoping to reopen the road by October 10th. They're waiting on the remainder of the blocks. I think a couple of sections have already been delivered this week, so they're installing those as they're delivered, and then they'll start backfilling, install our water line. We'll have an engineer on site for the testing, and then they'll get it open to traffic. I think work will continue, so it'll probably be temporary 1-lane shutdowns, but at least accessible through the work package starting mid-October. Middlebury River, Casella completed their portion of the work, which is south of Gristmill Bridge down to Aussie Road. They did a good job. It looks pretty good. We still have some further mitigation efforts. I've reached out to SLR, the engineering firm that did the initial design for the flood resiliency project, to get a structural assessment for the sheet piles that surround the flood resiliency wall just south of Gristmill Bridge. They've all peeled off of the wall. I am hopeful that there's no impact to the toe of them, but we definitely need to do something to at least get them secured back to the wall, and need to determine if there's any impact to the toe, because that's really their purpose down there. And then we also had Champlain come in and open up the chutes and remove debris between Gristmill Bridge and Lower Plains Road. There were a number of trees down in that section, and the chutes were pretty clogged up, so that came out pretty good. They mobilized out of there today. So hopefully all of the flood-related work is done until springtime. We are still looking for, there will be further work for stabilization efforts along the 12 Gristmill Road site, the Holbrooks property, that large slope. But that'll have to come about in the spring. We have to be out of the river by October 1st for regulatory reasons. And then the other piece, we also have Otter Creek Engineering looking into doing a hydraulic analysis for North Branch Road to figure out culvert sizing in there as part of the mitigation efforts. I think there are at least 3 culverts that are undersized, so we'll be looking into that further. And I'm meeting with our FEMA coordinator again on Friday, but as long as those items are called out now, we're able to build on them. So we're just calling out as much as we can, so that come springtime, we can do the work that's needed and still get the funding necessary for the further mitigation. Any questions on that? That was a little bit quick. I'm worried that we're gonna lose internet at our house.
Well, then keep going on until somebody interrupts you.
Okay. So flooding updates, I touched on some of this. We're still trying to figure out how to treat the August event. We got the notification that we reached the threshold to receive a declaration. And I think the state and the federal government are now still trying to coordinate if it's going to be combined all into one declaration or how they're going to break it out. Hopefully it's all one declaration for my sanity, but we'll see where that lands. Pump Station 3, Waybridge Street, the outlet pipe was completely washed out, so we're still working on that one. We cameraed it last week. The pipe is actually in decent shape for being clay tile. One section completely blew out, so we could reconnect that, or I think my preference would be to replace the section, about 125 feet of pipe, and then also realign the stormwater, which was just an open basin, realign it so that we don't have further issues over there. I don't really want to go through all of these in too much detail. They're all listed out pretty clearly, but High Street, we still have 2 landslides to deal with. I'm meeting with the federal aid highway folks tomorrow. Some of the funding comes from FEMA, some of it comes from federal aid highway, depending upon, I did Seymour, Washington Street, Seymour, High Street, and Waybridge are all coming from the federal aid highway. So I'm meeting with them to go through those projects, figure out how much of it they're actually covering. One of the slides on High Street was pretty extensive and went well outside of the right of way into the backyard of the property. So there's more work to do there, and I don't know how that will be covered. So more to come on that. I know our highway crew met with some paving contractors today to get things buttoned up from all of these emergency sites for winter time. So we have a plan moving forward, at least for within the next month, to get them all paved back in, so that come plow season, hopefully plow season comes after that, we'll be in decent shape. And then, as I mentioned, there will be more mitigation between Gristmill Bridge and downstream. Those efforts will continue on, but as long as we itemize them now, we'll be in good shape for springtime in terms of funding in Northbridge. Any questions on that?
So does it look like we will get a lot of this funded by FEMA?
I think we will 100% get funding for both events. It's just a matter of if they're going to treat it as 2 separate events, which just turns it into a complete tracking nightmare. One, I know the governor was meeting with FEMA last week, and I haven't heard the follow-up from that, but he was going to try to get the July event. Right now, it's cut off at July 17th. He was trying to get it extended at least to July 21st, which we had a significant storm that night in Middlebury, and it hit our police repeater and our antenna. So it would cover that. Although I think that's already being carried by the insurance, but so it could encapsulate
Management or other plan, which I think, so you're very familiar with it. I think that goes to our safety committee about hotspots that we want to address and figuring out what's best. It sounds like you're doing mission creep on the last minute on a.
Not necessarily, because
Something.
they may, as a consulting firm, having done this project before, already have that as cachet. You know, so it's like an appendix that just could be added. That's a
If they have
reference.
it, yeah.
That's all I'm asking. I'm not trying to have them do more work. I know it's the end of the period of time, but if they had such a thing, you know, that could be helpful to include in the report that everybody's going to be looking at. I can generate it too, because I've seen it in other reports, but I'm just asking the question. So it's okay. I think I got the answer. And stop signs in Butoff actually were added for that reason, even in places where you wouldn't normally put a stop sign. And that could be added to Rogers Road too as a possibility. And I know the chief mentioned that at one point.
No, they did that out on Bunger Street too. Yes.
My name is Marie Thiberge. I live on Daniel Drive. And my son was telling me the other day that he's my IT specialist. And he said that sometimes GPS, if there's a traffic jam, will reroute the traffic to another direction. So if there was he said maybe there's a possibility that if the 7 is jammed, then the traffic is by GPS rerouted through Daniel Drive. But he said there's a form that a municipality can fill and apply to, is it Google, to ask that this rerouting not happen. So something to explore. It can.
It's an interesting, who's on the safety committee? Did you write that down?
Yeah.
Look, our IT techie guy is on.
Sorry?
Our IT techie guy.
Yes.
My own personal IT specialist. And Daniel, I've been living there for 1 year now, and I noticed the drop-off and pickup of the students. When the kids either walk or come back from school, on Daniel, they don't realize they're on a street. So they're in the middle of the street, they talk, they play, they're just like, and then the parents who come and pick up their kids, they're on a rush. So they drive through all this. Sometimes their kids stay there for 15 minutes. The parents are late, they're waiting. So I'm not sure that it is a good idea for parents to pick up their children outside of the school where they should be picking them up. And the kids have to cross 7 also to get there. I know they like to walk with their friends and things like that. But anyway, so that's definitely, there's more volume there. More volume of parents. Instead, they don't want to go to pick up at the school. They want to avoid Route 7, so they just drive to our neighborhood, they pick up and they drop off their kids. So more and more volume, but that.
Is that relatively new?
Oh, no, that's always.
I don't remember that when my kids were going to school, that people were picking up all the way over there.
After the elementary school, that was the easy drop off. So to avoid Route 7, we always did that. It's getting worse now.
And I'll also say, as a teacher in the middle school, adding the 6th grade, you add another group of families. And also post-COVID, a lot of people, their work schedule allowed them to drop their kids off to school, or they just feel more comfortable driving their kids to school instead of having them on a bus with other kids. They got comfortable driving their kids
So
to
we have
school.
more people doing that.
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely
yeah.
more people driving their kids
I
to
don't
school.
remember that being an issue. I mean, but I'm talking
But instead of
10
going
years
to
back
school,
or whatever.
they drop off
More than
sometimes in
10,
parking lots of businesses or, everything to avoid that. And
Huh.
then Daniel is definitely drop off. and
I'm
pick up.
wondering, can Mary Hogan
Thank you.
put a stop to this?
There's just
Asking parents not to use
I
it?
don't know. Let me just divert our conversation back to what we were working on. I think we had a lot of Rogers Road and people that came in maybe to voice their concern and hope that this might help them. I think we have 2 issues. So that's an issue that we need to undertake. Right now, it's the bike ped and walking connectivity plan. And we have a presentation that's been given to us, and we need to let them know if we endorse this work so they can finalize the final plan. Any other questions? And if not, I'd like a motion.
I'll move that the select board endorse the 2023 Middlebury Bike and Ped connectivity plan prepared by Trudell Consulting Engineers.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any other comments or questions on it? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? So now you can finalize your report, and we do like what you've given us so far. I'll be anxious to see the final report.
Well, thanks for your time. Thanks for your feedback and comments.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Hello, Adam Franco from Chipman Park. I want to just thank everyone involved with this for getting this connectivity plan, because this is pretty huge. You know, as you mentioned, the Exchange Street shared use path was a really great project that turns out that's where the people are speaking, and that was a project that was previously identified. So it's great to have the data to back up future work. My one question is, where future approach to working on the things identified in this plan will happen? Will that be an infrastructure committee, public safety committee, the full select board, or when will this be picked up once that full report is?
You might be hitting us a little bit soon, but probably it would come out of those two committees. Whether it was a hotspot being driven that, you know, we really need to do something, that might come out of the Health and Safety Committee, or infrastructure as a directory, working on, like, we're working on a street, we're already there, and that might be something that is included as part of that the scope of that project. So I think it'd be those two are your more logical committees for the prioritization to come out of, but in the end, it's the select board that will approve it.
So there's not like a particular plan to look at it and do like a.
Well, like I
prioritization
say,
process?
you're a little bit ahead of us. We
Yeah.
haven't even got the report yet, and so this is something that planning is bringing to us. And as we get the report and digest it, there may be a more defined approach to how we do that.
Thank you very much.
I'll add to what it will allow us to do is consider that when we're doing other projects. And that's how a lot of things get done. If we're going to tear up a road for water reasons, then that's the appropriate time to do that. So, but if we don't have that information of what the priorities are, it doesn't factor in. So,
Great. Well, thank you.
I think Jen had a comment, or no?
Well, I think, yeah, Lindsay's got it, and Heather has talked a little bit about this too with the infrastructure committee, but my hope is that this tool is like a tool that is like the beginning of like a better day, like, right? Like
Yeah.
Emily is like really getting into capital planning more and more, and we'll be working with the infrastructure committee, and theoretically, like the way it works in other larger towns is you have a plan like this, and then like maybe that plan ends up informing like your capital plan over the next 5 years. And so, if someone had a question about that road, you might be able to tell them kind of where that's landing theoretically. And it's more efficient than being bombarded by like groups of people from neighborhoods who are like pushing for things, because even though that's totally awesome and like you're right to do that, like, like not every neighborhood has the wherewithal to be able to do that. That's what I really like about the 300 responses, like we definitely heard from people in Lindale Mobile Home Park, and we heard from the elderly. Like, it's just not everybody has the ability to come to meetings and like the braveness to speak in front of people like certain neighborhoods do. So that'll help you with the equity piece too. Yeah. So yet to be seen how that tool is going to be used. I don't think it's going to be as straightforward as like, we'll have like a process for prioritizing now, and then we'll know, yeah. I don't know if that helps.
Thanks for that clarification.
Yeah. Totally.
So Jen, your next item is downtown designation.
Yeah, this is a little more straightforward. Yep, downtown. And so we have a state designation for the downtown area. And then we also have a neighborhood development area, as you recall, that has all those great incentives like Summit Development's been able to take advantage of. And then we have a village center designation. And all three have come up for renewal at the same time, which is kind of convenient, really. We get them all knocked out. Nothing is changing about the designation boundaries. It's just 3 applications I need to submit to the state. So if anybody has any questions on that, I'm happy to answer them.
So let's take them one at a time. Are there any questions on the downtown designation renewal? And if there are no questions, then I would entertain a motion.
I move that Middlebury Select Board authorize the submission of a downtown designation renewal application to Vermont Agency of Commerce and Community Development, Department of Housing and Community Development for the town of Middlebury.
Oh, you can have it. You
Moved and seconded. Any questions? None? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, the next is our neighborhood development area designation, the NDA. We just got that, but it has to be approved because it has to be renewed when the downtown designation.
Apparently that's the rule, yeah, so it's this awkward immediate renewal.
Yeah, immediate renewal. Any questions on that? Motion?
I'll move that the Middlebury Select Board authorize the submission of neighborhood development area designation renewal application to the Vermont Agency of Commerce and Community Development, Department of Housing and Community Development for the town of Middlebury.
second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed? Next is the Middlebury Village Center designation for East Middlebury.
I'll move that the Middlebury Select Board authorize the submission of the East Middlebury Village Center designation renewal application to the Vermont Agency of Commerce and Community Development, Department of Housing and Community Development for the town of Middlebury.
Second.
Moved and second. Questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? And last but certainly not least is the Community Reinvestment Agreement that's related to the designated downtown area.
I'll move the Select Board authorize the Community Reinvestment Agreement relating to the designated downtown area for the program and state regulations.
Second.
Any questions on that? That's just saying that it's a commitment from all of those that have an impact that we are working to invest in that downtown area. So all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, you'll have to sign your lives away.
You have to sign your life away.
Just
your
me?
life. Just your life.
Okay. Next, well then, thank you. Appreciate it, Jen.
Thanks, John.
So next is Kathleen on a Community Partnership for Neighborhood Development grant.
So we've been working with Zeke Davison of Summit Properties, Jen Murray and Emily to try to scope out a grant application. So this is the Community Partnership for Neighborhood Development. It's a competitive grant program administered by the Agency of Commerce and Community Development. The program goals are to support investments in the development of transformative smart growth neighborhoods by pairing targeted and coordinated investments with planning support. Municipalities are the eligible applicants, and partnerships with private developers are encouraged. Eligible uses include planning, design, scoping, surveying, essentially everything in the bucket of soft costs incurred after the grant award, not backward looking. Actual hard construction costs are ineligible. Award size is up to $500,000 for a single applicant, but the entire program is only $900,000. And the deadline for application is October 27th. So Zeke will be coming back with us with a more well-defined grant application for your consideration, probably at your first meeting in October. So potential identified uses include $54,000 in municipal planning for pump station testing, a bike ped study, a Valley View sidewalk design, on-site water main engineering, and a hydraulic analysis. $205,000 for on-site infrastructure design, civil engineering, geotechnical surveys, environmental reports, and administrative and legal expenses. $617,000 in affordable for sale housing, soft costs, permit and connection fees, architectural design, civil engineering, green building consulting, and again, administrative and legal. And $780,000 in affordable rental housing soft costs. So this is a great program for the soft costs associated with development and a way to help keep this development affordable. So stay tuned. We just wanted to get this on your radar screen.
Okay.
It's coming up.
So no motion this evening?
You could do a motion, but if you'd like to see the detailed grant application, you could do that by your meeting on October 10th.
And we still have time.
Yeah, we still have time.
Okay, we'll wait and see the application. Next is the contribution to Vermont Employees Retirement System for non-union employees. Kathleen, you want to present that also?
Sure. Currently, the town of Middlebury's non-union personnel participate in Vermont Municipal Employees Retirement System Group B, whereas our sworn police officers participate in VEMR's D, which is a group that was designed for a public safety, which in part allows an earlier retirement age for public safety personnel and a higher contribution by the municipality. Our new chief, Jason Covey, was participating in the VEMR's D program recently and has asked that the board open up membership in VEMR's D to the police chief position going forward. And that is this request, please.
Are there any questions on
It's
that?
actually extending his enrollment, right?
Yeah.
If there's no questions, I'd entertain a motion.
I move that the select board approve and sign the proposed letter to the Vermont Municipal Employees Retirement System requesting the addition of the position of police chief to the list of the positions eligible to participate in the Vermont Municipal Retirement System's Group D, indicating that the employee in the position of the police chief may move to VEMR's D on July 1, 2024, and that the board understands that and agrees to the VEMR's provision that employees in the police chief position will be required to participate in VEMR's Group D going forward.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, check warrants. Who's got them?
I did the check warrants and I moved to approve total expenditures in the amount of $907,260.72, consisting of $794,334.97 for account payable and $112,925.75 for payroll for the period of September 13th to September 26th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay. Board member concerns. Stan,
Oh, jumped on me real quick there.
you're to my right. You ever notice when you go into a store, you look to your right first?
Yeah, of course. What's that? I don't think I have anything.
Nothing.
I believe I just passed 1 year on the select board.
No, it's been a year already?
And I just wanted to thank everyone who has taught me something about Middlebury's history, someone who gave me advice in this position, and just people who've really encouraged me and other young people to be involved in local politics. So I've really appreciated it. And especially this week, we've just seen a lot of crime reported lately. So I just wanted to give a shout out to our town employees who have been so receptive to those phone calls and finding out as much information on the incidents as possible to get some resolutions.
Okay, thanks, Isabel.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
And happy 50th yesterday, I think, or day before. Yeah, the big 50.
Really new, but having the encampments is not new. We've, Kathleen has talked with both the police chiefs. Some of, like the one down here has been here a very long time. They have a guy who's the mayor, self-appointed mayor. I remember when I toured Japan, and they had a lot of homelessness, and they had appointed mayors, and it was very neat and clean and everything. Well, there's some new participants in the encampment, and it's changed, but there's some limitations on what our police are able to do. You know, a civil offense is just a ticket. It's not going to stop anything. But this one more recent one, they picked the individual up 3 different times before the prosecutor and judge would actually support any kind of prosecution and set bail, and it's $500 bail. But that's 3 times before any action was taken. So there are police, there's some, discussion around town where the police aren't doing anything. Well, they are doing something, but their hands are very much tied by our state legislators and what they've passed for, and the way that our legal system is functioning. So we may have some challenges. There's certainly, we're looking into what we can do, and we'll have some feedback, but there's not a lot that, the town hasn't got any big hammer that we can bring out. So there's businesses are meeting on Friday to just throw out ideas and everything, and I'm going to attend that meeting and see what they have to say. But
I know we're going to have more discussions, and I understand the encampments, and I'm okay, but don't they have to respect the law?
Sure. 3 times, arrested 3 times.
Yeah, but I'm talking about other things that they've done, like a defecating in the road, or urinating in the road, or drinking, or public drunkenness, open alcoholic beverages out there, using marijuana in public, and
somebody has to keep calling the police, and they have to be involved, and it's a matter of resources, right?
I think if they'd only behave down there, it wouldn't be a problem.
No.
It's certainly heated up more recently, so.
Yes.
So we'll be talking about that the next. So if somebody asks you, it's on our agenda for the next one. Okay, you haven't seen the agenda yet, but we're working on that, and it will be an item of discussion. Bring any and all ideas, but know that they're not just sitting around not doing anything. That they are working this issue hard. So
that's here Friday at noon.
No, it's not. It's not a town meeting. It's businesses meeting.
This isn't the DIDC meeting.
No.
The DIDC is meeting Thursday at noon.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
So everybody's interested in it, I guess. So
But you're saying this is on our next agenda, though.
this is on our next agenda.
Could we think about inviting someone from one of the services that helps provide some of the support that these people get, just to get more information?
Invite them all.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good idea, and that's why I want to give you guys a heads up. So any and all ideas. So so that I'd like to go into executive session. If you get somebody got it up.
I got it.
Okay, can you lead us
In
into it?
accordance with Vermont's open meeting law requirements, I move that the board find that premature general knowledge of the consideration of real estate matters would clearly place the select board at a substantial disadvantage because the select board risks disclosing its real estate matters in public.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
I further move that the board enter into executive session to discuss the real estate matters under the provisions of Title I, Section 313A1 of the Vermont statutes.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, going into executive session at 8:40.
Right on schedule.